हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। We will begin with the Shanti mantra. ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। We shall chant from the first mantra of the 16th section. एष तु वा अतिवदति यसत्तेन अतिवदति सोऽहं भगवत् सत्तेन अतिवदानीति सत्यं त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति सत्यं भगवो विजिज्ञासयति। यदा वै विजानाति अतः सत्यं वदति न विजानन् सत्यं वदति विजानन्नेव सत्यं वदति विज्ञानं त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्यमिति विज्ञानं भगवो विजिज्ञास इति यदा वै मनुते अत विजानाति नामत्वा विजानाति मत्वैव विजानाति मतिस्त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्येति मतिं भगवो विजिज्ञास इति यदा वै श्रद्दधाति अथ मनुते नाश्रद्दधन् मनुते श्रद्ददद्देव मनुते श्रद्धा त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्येति श्रद्धां भगवो विजिज्ञास इति यदा वै निष्ठिष्ठति अथ श्रद्दधाति नानिष्ठिष्ठत् श्रद्दधाति निष्ठिष्ठन्नेव श्रद्दधाति निष्ठा त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्येति निष्ठां भगवो विजिज्ञास इति यदा वै करोति अथ निष्ठिष्ठति न कृत्वा निष्ठिष्ठति कृत्वैव निष्ठिष्ठति कृतिस्त्वेव विजिज्ञासितव्येति कृतिं भगवो विजिज्ञास इति So Narad ji came to understand that prana is like the hub which controls the entire creation. Everything is attached to prana, like the spokes of a wheel are attached to the hub. So after recognizing that prana as the self, Narad ji became quiet. But then the teacher said that that is not the ultimate. Only when one knows the satya, because other than that everything is asatya. Asatya means constantly changing. Satya is the absolute existence which doesn't change. Only by recognizing and realizing that Satya as our own self, we will become free of all our bondage. So Naradji requested the teacher to teach him that Satya. So the teacher said that one has to realize this Satya. One has to gain that Vijnanam of this Satya, Aparoksha Anubhuti, direct experience. And how can we gain direct experience of Satya? By contemplating on it. So yada vai manute atha vijanati. And what prompts us to contemplate? The teacher says Shraddha. Yada vai shraddadati atha manute. One should have that Shraddha in the teacher, in the scriptures, in that Brahma, in our own self. And what gives rise to that Shraddha? When we approach the teacher and serve the teacher. Yada vai nishthisthati atha shraddhadati. When we have that nishtha, that single-pointed devotion to our Guru, and we serve our Guru, then we start developing that Shraddha. And what prompts us to approach a Guru and learn this supreme knowledge? This can happen when we put forth effort, when we act. And here act means when we purify our antakarana and attain that single-pointedness of our chitta, then that prompts us, that propels us to approach a teacher and learn. But to control the senses and make them single pointed is not very easy. Our mind keeps running here and there. In Gita also, Arjuna tells Bhagwan that the mind is very chanchal, chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramati balavad jadam tasyaham nigraham manne vayor sudushkaram. The mind is very chanchal, very turbulent, very strong. It is as difficult to control the mind as it is difficult to control the air, the breeze. So Bhagavan says by abhyas and vairagya one can do it. So it's not very easy to control our mind and to gain that single pointedness. So what is that which prompts a person to do this? See, we see there are billions of people in this world, but everyone doesn't walk this path of spirituality. And also it is not very easy. In Kathopanishad also, we have seen that it is like walking on the razor's edge. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. So it's very difficult to walk. So what propels a person to put forth effort to purify the mind, to gain that single pointedness, to have that control over the senses, and then approach the teacher? What is the propelling force? That Naradji wants to know. He wants to know the secret of this kriti. So kriti bhagavo viditnyasa iti. I want to understand this kriti, this karma. So now, a very important mantra, the teacher reveals this. Mantra number 1, section 22. Yada vai sukham labate atha karoti na sukham labdva karoti sukhamiva labdva karoti sukham tveva vididnyasitavyam iti sukham bhagavo vididnyasa iti. Once more. Yada vai sukham labate atha karoti na sukham labdva karoti sukhamiva labdva karoti sukham tveva vididnyasitavyam iti sukham bhagavo vididnyasa iti. A very beautiful thing. The teacher says that yada vai sukham labate atha karoti, that when we gain happiness, sukham is happiness or joy. So when we gain happiness means when we have the hope that we will gain happiness, then we put forth effort. Otherwise we will not know. We put forth effort to perform actions or even to cultivate certain virtues, control our senses, our mind, gain that single pointedness when we know that we will gain that happiness. So yada vai sukham labhate atha karoti na asukham labdva karoti. If there is no chance of gaining sukha, then we will not put forth effort. Nobody wants sorrow, no one wants pain, nobody wants trouble. Everyone desires happiness. So if we feel that there will not be any happiness, then we will not put forth any effort. So sukham eva labdhva karoti, only for happiness we perform action. Therefore the teacher says, sukham tveva vijitnyasitavyam iti. Therefore you should understand what is this sukha properly. You should comprehend this sukha. Then everything will become easy. So Naradji requests, Sukham Bhagavo Vijitnyasa iti, that please tell me what is this sukha. So this is the literal translation of this mantra. So let us read Bhagwan Shankaracharya's commentary and try to understand. So sapi krutihi yada sukham labhate. So there will be this action of controlling the senses, of purifying the mind, of gaining that single pointedness of the mind. When one will gain that sukha, yada sukham labhate. And what is this sukham labhate? Sukha nir atishayam vakshamanam labdhavyam maya iti manyate tada bhavati ityartah. This sukha, what exactly is that sukha, will be revealed in the following mantras, which is nir atishayam, which is supreme happiness. Supreme nir atishayam means there is no greater happiness than that, which will be revealed in the following mantras. When we come to understand that I will gain that happiness, if I comprehend it properly, then I will put forth effort to control my mind, control the senses, and approach a teacher and learn. See, this is about the supreme happiness. But even the worldly happiness or worldly pleasures or joys also prompts people to perform action. Shankaracharya writes कि यथा दृष्टफल सुखाकृतिः तथा इहापि न असुखम लब्ध्वा करोति. Even in the world, when we know that I will get that happiness, then I perform action. But unfortunately, the happiness which we acquire in this world are short-lived. They always are followed by some sadness and sorrow. In Bhagavad Gita, we have seen in the 5th chapter, Bhagwan tells Arjuna कि ये ही संस्पर्शजा भोगाः दुःख योनय एवते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. That those happiness which we gain through the contact of our sense organs with the sense objects, the sensual pleasures, such happiness, our Bhagwan Sri Krishna tells, are dukkha yonayaha. They are the very source of all sorrow. In the beginning, we feel, oh, so nice when we have the desire to eat, to drink, to indulge in some other pleasures of this world, and we indulge in them. Immediately we feel that pleasure. But the more and more we indulge, the pleasure also reduces. And when we stop interacting with them, it leads to a lot of sorrow and pain also. So continuously also we cannot indulge in those pleasures. They come to an end, and when they come to an end, it leads to pain, sorrow, ill health, and other problems. Why? Because Adyantavanta Kaunteya, they have Adi and Anta. They have a beginning and they have an end. Therefore, the wise people don't indulge in such pleasures of this world. Na ramate, na teshu ramate buddhaha. But unfortunately, all of us, knowingly and or unknowingly, we are seeking happiness only. That is the strong urge which is there within us. And that urge itself gives rise to various desires. So those kamna we have seen, which is called that asha, which makes this whole world run. Because of that asha only, we indulge in various activities in this world. And that itself is the cause of our samsara. It keeps us bound to this samsara. So what exactly happens when we have these worldly pleasures? In a very interesting way, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Rishi talks about the 5 layers which we have, the 5 koshas, the Annamaya kosh, the Pranamaya kosh, the Manomaya kosh, the Vijnanamaya kosh, and the Anandamaya kosh. The self as though seems to be covered by these 5 layers. Not actually, but as though because of our ignorance and because of adhyas, we feel ourselves bound to these 5 layers. And when we get bound to them, we consider them itself as our own self. So Annamaya Atma, Annamaya Kosh is this body which is made up of Anna, made up of food which we eat. And when we identify with this body, we consider ourselves this body, then that is called being the Annamaya Atma. We become Annamaya Atma. This body is activated by pranas, the pancha pranas which are there, expressing in this body, activates the body. So one identifies with this prana also, considers them as I. I say that I am acting, I am walking, I am talking. Though all these activities are done by the pranas, identifying with this prana, I feel I am the doer. So I become the pranamaya atma. Then identifying with the mind, the thinking, the emotions, I become the manomaya atma. Identifying with our intellect, which is the deciding faculty, nishchayatmika buddhihi, I become the vijnanamaya atma. I consider myself as the vijnanamaya atma. And at the innermost level, where we have our desires, where we have this false sense of I, where we feel that pleasures of this world, different levels of pleasures are felt at that level. That is the Anandamaya Atma, Anandamaya Kosh. And when I identify with that Kosh, I become the Anandamaya Atma. This Pancha Koshas are the two bodies only, the Sthula and Sukshma Sharir. This Anandamaya Kosh is not the Sushupti Avastha. Many acharyas, many Vedanta teachers, they talk about the deep sleep as Anandamaya Kosh, which is wrong, which is not proper. That is not the Anandamaya Kosh. Anandamaya Kosh is also experienced in the waking only, wherein we experience the different levels of joy. It's called Priya, Mod, and Pramod. Priya means when we think of our desirable objects, then we feel happy within. We get some sort of pleasure, even thinking about those objects which will give me joy. Therefore, many people they get great joy in doing window shopping, or nowadays on the mobile also. So many things are available. People will keep looking at all those objects, the different types of dresses, the different types of other objects which are available online. Even when we don't want to buy them, we keep looking at them and imagining how I will look if I wear this dress. And generally those models and all are very beautiful and very slim, and they wear those dresses very nicely. So I look at them and I imagine that if I also wear, I will look like that model only. And I buy it online. And when I wear it really and compare it with that model, I get a shock of my life. I don't even look close to that model. Anyway, so when we think of the objects of our desire, it gives us pleasure. And when we get that object, let us say you buy it online and you're waiting, you're constantly checking your mobile, you are wondering when that fellow will come. So they keep sending messages on your email, on your WhatsApp, and finally that fellow comes to deliver. So when I get it in my hand, there is more joy. That is called mod. When I think about the object, I get joy. That is called priya, which is a lower level of joy. But when I get that object in my hand, then I get more joy. That is called mod. And when I actually wear it, and when I really look like that model also, when I really look good, and when people in my family also praise me, Arey, you are looking so fantastic, so lovely, so beautiful. So I get more joy. That is called pramod. So priya, mod, and pramod. These are the various levels of joy which we get when we indulge in the objects of this world. Sometimes we may just remain at the priya level, or some objects will give me moda, or some object will take me to the pramoda level. So it keeps on fluctuating. But once that joy is over, then again I become sad. Again I start comparing. Again I check, oh, I don't have this. I don't have that object. So always that desire keeps on coming up in our antakarana, and we want to acquire it. So I want to be happy. I want to gain that pleasure. I want to repeat that pleasure which I had got before. I want to repeat that joy which I had got before. So all these things happen in the Anandamaya Kosh, and I identify with it. Anandamaya Kosh is also Antakarana only, and I identify with it and consider that as myself. I say it is my happiness. I am happy. If I don't get it, I will be sad. So when that desire comes in my antakarana, identifying with that desire, I say that I want to gain that, get that object and become happy. Then that Anandamaya Kosh propels the buddhi. The buddhi decides. The buddhi takes the decision, okay, I will get that dress. So that decision is taken by the buddhi. And then buddhi, that is the Vijnanamaya Kosh. Then the Vijnanamaya Kosh activates the mind. The mind starts thinking about the various ways in which I can acquire it. So it thinks of the various options. That is called Sankalpa Vikalpa. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. That should I buy it online? Or should I go to the store which is not very far? I can just directly go there and I can check it, the dress, by wearing it there. If it doesn't fit properly, then there is too much hassle. So it is better that I go there. But today it is closed. So I will have to wait till tomorrow. So then I will have to plan and get that driver also ready, and all sorts of thinking I do. That is the mind. That is the manomaya atma, and that manomaya atma propels the pranas. The pranas, they become active, and the pranas then I become the pranamaya atma, and the pranas activate the body, and the body then moves to fulfill that desire. Then I go to the shop, I get the dress, I wear it, I look into the long mirror, and I like it, I get great joy. Then I pay the bill and buy it. I get greater joy that I own it. So this is how all the pleasures of this world works. But they are not lasting. After some time, they just go away, fade away. There are people who have countless dresses at home, countless jewelries, countless other objects. It doesn't give them joy. Of course, if they think about when they bought it, it must have given them that joy, but now it doesn't give that joy. So the worldly pleasures, when we think that I will get this joy, then that activates, makes me active. But here, those activities are the worldly activities. They don't they don't prompt me to control my mind. The worldly pleasures don't propel me to make my chitta shuddha. They don't propel me to approach a teacher and learn the shastras. The worldly pleasure take me away from spirituality. The more and more one indulges in the pleasures of this world, the more and more we remain away from a spiritual path. So by chance, by Bhagwan's grace, if we get a chance of satsang, then through that satsang we come to know that there is some joy, there is some pleasures which will not come to an end. There is a happiness which will not come to an end. Because we are searching for that happiness which is endless. Though all the time we are getting happiness which comes to an end, but deeply we are looking for eternal happiness. We are also looking for happiness in which there is no effort. I don't have to struggle, I don't have to put forth lots of effort and all. When I get it, I want it sahaja. Also, I don't want too much competition in that, in acquiring that happiness. But unfortunately, the worldly happiness are not easy. We have to struggle. We have to compete. Generally, there are few objects, but more demands are there. So we have to compete with others. And it leads to sorrow, pain also. But when we do satsang, we come to know that there is a joy, there is a happiness which is everlasting. And it is available. But for that, we have to put forth effort, and a different type of effort. For worldly pleasures, you have to put forth effort in a different way. But for this pleasure, for this happiness, you have to put a different type of effort. For this, you have to put forth effort to control your senses, to control your mind, to give up your worldly pursuits and worldly indulgence. Because through satsang, we come to know that all these pleasures of this world are temporary. They will never give me lasting happiness. So when I do satsang, I gain that, I become nissanga. So satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. Nischalatatve jivan muktihi. So here Bhagwan the Rishi is talking about that eternal happiness. And this eternal happiness is the very nature of our own self. Very strange that I myself am of the nature of happiness. And this we experience also when we are alone with ourselves, when we are not identified with any of these upadhis, when we are all alone, we experience that happiness. And when that happens, when we are in deep sleep, I become separated from the Sthula Sharir as well as the Sukshma Sharir. I am no longer connected with the Panchakoshas. I remain alone. And whenever I experience that aloneness, I also experience happiness. Therefore, it is a universal experience. Everyone says when they go into deep sleep, when they wake up, they say that I slept happily. It's the experience. See, though in deep sleep the mind was not there, the intellect was not there, but that experience was there. I was there, experiencing my own joy. And when I wake up, I express that joy through the mind, through the intellect, through the speech. So it is the experience of myself, my own joy. But the problem is that I don't remain there like that. I again wake up and again identify with the body, mind, senses. So that joy of deep sleep, though it is my own, I experience it in uh, in the in the past. In the sense, I talk about it in past tense. I always say I slept happily. So it comes to an end. Because the mind, intellect wakes up and create the disturbance in that joy. But by controlling our mind, by controlling the senses, by purifying the mind, and by recognizing our own self, we can experience that joy in the present moment. We can experience that joy in the waking state. We can experience that joy, and that joy will remain with us eternally. That itself is called moksha, that itself is called enlightenment. In Bhaja Govindam also, Shankaracharya writes, Yogarato va bhogarto va sangarato va sangavihina yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati 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 eva. That an enlightened person may look outwardly to others. They may see him in meditation, or they may see him interacting with the world, like Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. He was interacting with the world. So yoga ratova, bhoga ratova, sangha ratova, sangha vihina. Sometimes they are with people, sometimes they are alone. So outwardly, an enlightened person may appear different, but internally, they are all at the same, they have attained the same enlightenment. And what is their inner experience? Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. They always rejoice. They are always in bliss. So when I really understand this deeply, properly, actually, not theoretically, not with doubts, but actually when I get convinced that yes, this happiness, eternal happiness is there, and it is my own happiness, and I can attain it. But for that, some conditions are there. Then I will be ready to fulfill those conditions. See, sometimes we are surprised to see great tapasvis and mahatmas living in such conditions, harsh conditions also. If you go to the Himalayas, you will see some sadhu in a small kutia, living alone, just having some little food, which he goes and get in his bhiksha, but whole day he spends just meditating, doing some sadhana, contemplating, being with nature. And if we see his kutia, there's nothing, just a little maybe bed, maybe there on the floor, just some items to maybe cook or make some tea or something like that. Hardly anything. And when we, with all our prosperity and with all our luxury, when we see that, we start wondering that, what joy and what propels this person to live in this condition. And if we even offer some money, wealth, and all, they are not interested. They are not interested in all this. So we wonder, okay, what is propelling such a person? Because he's not crazy, not some mad person. And if we really inquire, we will find that once upon a time he was very prosperous, very living in luxury, having lots of wealth. But then something happened in his life. He came to understand that what I am seeking is not here. So he just dropped everything and came here alone, seeking that supreme bliss. Gautam Buddha, born in a royal family, gave up everything and walked this path. Mahavira, royal, born in a royal family, gave up everything, walked this path. So, what propels a person, inspires a person to control the senses and control the mind? This joy, this eternal bliss. Eternal bliss. See, even this sleep, wherein we experience that joy, it is the highest happiness, really speaking. If a person is deprived of sleep, he'll go crazy. But when we get a good sleep, we feel so refreshed, so happy. But that same happiness we have to attain in the waking state directly by realizing our own self. For that, we have to transcend our mind. And in order to transcend the mind, first we have to purify the mind, gain that single pointedness of the mind, control the senses, then it is possible to transcend with knowledge. So Shankaracharya writes further कि भविष्यदपि फलं लब्ध्वा इति उच्यते तद उद्दिश्य प्रवृत्ति उपपत्तेः. Here it is said, when we gain that happiness, we do. But that happiness will come in future. So knowing that I will get that happiness, a person does put forth effort, strives. Nachiketa, when he went, approached Yamraji, Yamraji gave him, offered great pleasures, which anyone worldly person would have just jumped and taken all of them. Yamraji said, I will give you a long life, healthy life, with a large family also, and lots of land. I will make you the king of this whole earth, and I will give you pleasures which are rare on earth. I will give you the pleasures which are only available in Swargaloka. Even the Apsaras I will give you, and all this, all the dance and music of heaven I will give you. But don't ask for the self-knowledge. Nachiketa said, I don't want all of them, because I know these pleasures are temporary. Our life itself is temporary. What to talk about pleasures? We keep on struggling throughout our life to achieve something, and when we are about to die, we achieve, and then we are dead and gone. Nachiketa said, Jarayanti tejaha. All these pleasures, they 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 make my senses and the mind also weak. They leave me incapable of even pursuing the spiritual path. So I don't want these pleasures. I only wanted self-knowledge, which will give me my own happiness of my own self. Why should I take this filthy happiness of these objects which are really not happiness? They they seem to be giving us that happiness or pleasure, but they are the very root of all sorrow. Shankaracharya writes further, ki atha idanim कृत्यादिषु उत्तरोत्तरेषु सत्सु सत्यम स्वयमेव pratibhasate iti. A very beautiful thing. Shankaracharya says that once we appreciate this sukha, once we understand this sukha, then it will propel us into that kriti, means of purifying the mind, controlling the senses, making our mind single pointed, and that will lead us towards nishtha, lead us towards the guru. When we become ready, guru will come in our life. Bhagwan has made this arrangement. We don't have to worry who will teach me, who will guide me, who will take me to my guru will come wherever I am. When I am ready, the guru comes in our life. Bhagwan makes that arrangement. That is the beauty. When the flowers they bloom, the bees and all they come. You don't have to send invitation also. So when a person is ready, the guru comes. Vibhishan was in Lanka, surrounded by all the Rakshasas. No chance of satsang, but he sincerely followed the proper path of dharma, purified his antakaran, developed that love for Bhagwan. And by Bhagwan's grace, Hanumanji flew all the way to Lanka and met him. And Vibhishan had the opportunity of a satsang. By the blessings of Hanumanji, he could give up all his attachment to the worldly pleasures and to his brother and to the kingdom. And he just surrendered to Bhagwan Sri Ram. So when we are available, when we make ourselves available, Guru will come in our life. When we do the seva of the Guru, we will learn, we will come to know what the Shastras are saying properly. We will gain that understanding. We will develop that Shraddha. So Shankaracharya says all this sadhana will automatically happen. Just like the escalator, if we just tap on the first step, that itself will take us on the higher and higher steps automatically. So when that Shraddha we will develop, then we will do Mananam, and our deep understanding will happen free of all doubts, and that will lead to meditation, Nididhyasan, and that Nididhyasan will give us Vijnana, Aparoksha Anubhuti. We will gain direct experience of our own inner self. Bhagavan says these steps happen automatically when the Sukha, the supreme Sukha, if we understand this supreme Sukha, theoretically we appreciate it, then it prompts the whole mechanism to function automatically. See, just like the worldly pleasures also prompts person to run after those pleasures. You will find a big crowd lining up in some place, some eateries and all. You will find the place is so cramped and small, You will find people giving up outside, waiting for a turn to go there and have that food. Why? Because they imagine that if I eat, I will feel so happy, there will be great pleasure. So that pleasure is making them do all this. But when we come to know about this eternal happiness, we will put forth effort to control our mind, to purify our mind, to do the sadhana like karma yoga, upasana, japa, tapa, puja, upvas, swadhyaya. So atha idanim krityadishu uttarottareshu satsu satyam swayameva pratibhasate. And when the sadhana happen, that's satyam. What is satyam? That's satyam brahma. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma will reveal itself to us. Means we will come to recognize ourselves as that satyam. Satyam swayameva pratibhasate. It by itself reveals, because all the conditions get fulfilled. All the obstacles are eliminated, and one gains that abidance in one's own self. Shankaracharya writes, कि इति न तद विज्ञानाय पृथक यत्नः कार्यमिति. To gain that enlightenment, no other effort or no other thing need to be done. This is the direct path. Don't have to put forth effort for anything else. Nothing more has to be done. This understanding of this sukha, which the teacher will tell further, when we really appreciate and understand it, it becomes so clear that the whole sadhana becomes automatic. When the goal is clear in our mind, then the walking toward the goal becomes automatic, spontaneous. Before you know, you reach the destination. But when that goal is not clear, when we don't know exactly what we are looking for, when there is total confusion about the meaning of moksha, the meaning of Atma, the meaning of Brahma, the meaning of the Mahavakya Tattvamasi Aham Brahmasmi, when and why they are not clear? If we don't approach, if we don't learn from the proper sampradaya, if we don't follow this path properly, then it is not clear. But if we understand this sukha and follow this path, meet the right teacher, and move ahead, we will reach that vijnana, aparoksha anubhuti. For that, Shankaracharya says a separate effort is not required. Na tad vijnanaya prathak yatnah karyamiti praptam tat idam uchyate. It will be attained. Therefore, sukham tveva viditnyasitavyamiti. Therefore, one should know this sukha properly, which will be explained in the following mantras. We should understand what is this sukha. So, sukham tveva viditnyasitavyamiti ityadi. So, when Naradji heard this, he requested the teacher to please teach him, tell him about this sukha. Sukham bhagavo viditnyasa iti abhimukhi bhutaya aha. So Naradji says, please teach me this sukha. And then in the following most beautiful mantras. Now these mantras are so fascinating and very subtle also. Therefore Shankaracharya ji has written elaborate commentaries on them. The Sukha is revealed, which is also called Bhuma, and that if we understand, and how we know we have understood, if that prompts us to do the further sadhana. If it doesn't prompt us to do this sadhana, that means we have not really appreciated it. But when we appreciate it, then we will put forth effort to control our mind, our senses, and then the further steps will happen automatically. So what is this sukha? That we will see in our class on Monday. So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana. Listen to the pravachan again very attentively and think about it. And then we will meet on Monday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Boliye Siyavar Ramchandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.